Sensitivity is intelligence. With grace and skill, you have abundance. Welcome to the Psychic Hour. Host Kelly Brickle is a psychic medium, numerologist, healer, and teacher. Her passions are learning about the soul and energy. Whether through spirit, emotion, or vibrational numbers, there is always a pathway of information waiting to help. Now, here is your host of the Psychic Hour, Kelly Brickle.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Psychic Hour. Thank you for being here. Welcome, welcome. We have the wonderful Kerry Standfast as a medium, psychic, and spiritual teacher within her life to share about who she is, her gifts, and her experiences with us today. So we'll be bringing her in just a moment. Hello. So today, I always talk about a topic before we begin, and the one that really inspired me to go into was becoming the energy. And so we're always learning how to become more of ourselves, and sometimes we have dreams, sometimes we have talents, sometimes we have thoughts and feelings that we haven't even fully formatted into knowing. But it's all coming in, whether it's just that daydream or that, oh, wow, why do I just keep thinking about that? It seems like there's something about that, these nudgings. And we're all getting our energy in line closer to our truth. Again, whether we know what's going on or not. And so when we finally do have some awareness of this seems important to me, or yes, I have been thinking these things, we have to start to mold our energy and to become, because there's these large gaps in who we are. There's these large gaps in why can't we have it? Why is this so hard? Why do I feel like maybe it is just a dream? We need the schedule. We need our friends and family support sometimes. We need sometimes a class. We need action to mold us into who we are. And we really, I think, take that simplicity sometimes for granted, because I know, as you see me, like, okay, I do readings, and Kerry Standfast, she does readings, and I really want to hear perspective on this too. When you see us on platform, when you see us with our group readings or whatever class that we're presenting, you go, okay, like Kelly, she's a psychic medium. She teaches. She looks like she's having fun out there. But there's all this energy that went into us being who we are. And that is the many days and the many nights of going, who do I want to learn from? What book do I want to read? Am I really putting my energy into the right places and categories? And it's something that all of us go through. So whatever you're working on within your life right now, just trust. And our intelligence with our innate selves is so on point. If it doesn't make sense, if it doesn't feel good, you'll go, okay, well, I'm doing this now and I do feel way better because whatever led me to this moment, I knew that I kind of wanted to try this. You will pivot into then the next step of who you need to be. I mean, I had most interest within my work with, I would say, like psychic. I wanted to learn about like the mind and colors and energy and knowing and how to connect to others' energy that were in the living. I was really having a lot of experiences about that personally. I would sometimes hear what a person would say before they say it, or I'd get a feeling of who a person was and if they really meant the thing that they said, or meeting somebody, I felt like, oh, that's a lifelong friend, or that will be a lifelong friend. I could know that for other people. So I'd get all these like little hits, or I'd feel someone's emotional state, right? Even though if they didn't tell me anything about it. So with all these like just occurrences, I started trying to figure out more psychically about myself. It led me into mediumship. I had curiosity in mediumship, but that wasn't necessarily where I started with learning about the energy, diving in as much, but I knew that was the next step. And so then mediumship led me into reading, because really at first it was just researching, and I didn't have the world of understanding that I could read for people and other people read for other people's energy. I just didn't have that reference when I was younger. I didn't have that reference in knowing until I became a teenager and I started learning. So once I started opening myself to the world of reading, mediumship really all of a sudden gave me that vehicle much more than psychic, which I was like, oh, I didn't expect to be here. And I started doing a lot of mediumship. Well, then mediumship went, and it was like, you got to get back into psychic. But before you got to get into psychic, you're going to have to do healing. So I went through all these pivots where the opening for the energy was, now you have to do this. And it was all connected to the bigger picture. So the psychic fed into the mediumship, the healing fed into the mediumship, the medium fed into the psychic, the mediumship fed into the healing, and so on and so forth. And so I want to say hello to everyone coming on in. Hello, Jennifer. And I'm glad that you understand that within your own development. I love that that is something that you can relate to, because a lot of times we think, oh, this is energy, this is spirit, this is, yes, this is my mediumship, but we don't understand of how all the parts and all the pivots lend oneself onto the other, and how we have to develop so many different parts of ourselves. Something that really comes to heart before I'm going to bring Kerry on in just a second here is a lot of people within their mediumship and their psychic and their healing, they go through pivots and pauses as well, because something within their life happens, whether it is a passing of a family member, or they're going through relationship struggles or health struggles. There has to be a certain development of the soul at hand in order for us to be able to work with energy in present time in the most authentic way to ourselves. Spirit does have the tendency to halt things around us. They will halt readings. They will halt bookings. They will halt even our motivation. They will halt our motivation, and they will halt our energy to say, no, we need you to release or connect to energy over here. Instead of being enthusiastic, they might have you actually have a feeling of repelling, and you go, why is that? Why is the energy moving that way? That doesn't make sense to my overall soul. And that's why I'm having this spiritual crisis. That doesn't make sense to what my overall soul wants, because I feel connected to who I am. But really, it's just the integration of the soul. And we do have to trust, and it is very confusing. And life is a journey. It's a very, very interesting one. So however life is a journey for you, whether you are really enthusiastic or you're going through a confusing time, giving you a lot of uncertainty, go back to what you feel enthusiasm, happiness, and joy within your soul, and go, how does this moment connect to where I am now? I know maybe I don't 100% get it. I know that there's things I'm just not going to know, but how does it come to where I am right now? Because there's a reason why what's going on is going on, and see what comes up for you. And so with that said, I'm going to bring in Kerry. And if you have any questions about your spiritual evolution or development, or if you have any sharings of what you went through, we'll pop them up on screen if it's part of the conversation. And so we'll keep the good vibes going. And I'll continue to say hello as everyone comes on in. So I'm going to bring in Kerry now. Hey, Kerry.
Hi, Kelly. Lovely to see you again.
Yes, it's great to see you. I'm so excited to dive into who you are within your mediumship, because I've known about you for just years. Our common connection is through Lisa Williams and her school, LWISSD. And right now it's called the Psychic Mediumship Academy, I believe. But sometimes all the teachers don't get to talk and to learn, right? From each other
Absolutely.
directly.
Definitely. We seem to get left behind now. I think that's what happens sometimes, though, when you start teaching, the dynamics it really changes, doesn't it?
Yeah. And sometimes you have to look at just what's in front of us, like, okay, what are we working on in the school right now? And it's just a little blip of a moment, and we get to smile at each other, and that's about it. But I get to smile at you and talk to you for longer today. I want to make sure that everyone knows whether you're familiar with Kerry or you're learning about who she is. I want to give you a warm introduction. So with that said, so Kerry Standfast was born in the East End of London. Growing up with a family that had an understanding of spiritualism, she was aware of spirit at a young age and being slightly different from others. Kerry had many conversations with her Nan Joan about the spirit world. She started becoming aware of spirit when her Nan passed away. Through this experience, Kerry gained a desire to dig deeper within herself and to be guided by her intuition. Kerry then dedicated herself to spiritualism. With a solid understanding of the mechanics of mediumship and psychic awareness, Kerry has studied for several years at Tony Stockwell's Soul Space, and with the guidance of Lynn Probert, Lisa Williams, and the attendance of Arthur Findlay College. She is also a member of the Spiritual National Union, the SNU, and Kerry works with her senses, clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, claircognizance, and is an empath. She is kind and nurturing with the way that she strives and brings out the best within her students and people, whether it is through a reading or teaching. Thank you for being with us today, Kerry.
Thank you for inviting me on this wonderful show. And before we actually go any further, I have to say I was really inspired with your talk beforehand about energy and how sometimes we have to have help from others for us to sort of find ourselves. And it's so true, Kelly, isn't it?
It is. It's not always obvious, of course.
Yeah.
And even when we feel like we know our soul, we can be very confused.
Absolutely. And I did laugh. I had a little chuckle when you said at the beginning as well of, when you're learning, you start reading. Kelly, I cannot tell you how many books I have read, how many classes I've attended. It's having that thirst and that hunger for your soul's development, isn't it?
Absolutely. Did you find when you were younger that even though you had exposure to spiritualism through your parents and family, did you have that interest? Did you have that, what is that? I want to learn about that. When did that start coming into your life?
Wow, you're taking me back a few years now, Kelly.
That's the name of the game of this show.
So for me, I was very young. I always, even when I was at even infant school, that's how young I was. I just felt very different. I felt like I stood out from everyone else. And it's almost like how I would describe it would be within myself of having a bit of a void and not actually finding that jigsaw piece to fit in. And this started from a real young age. As I say, I was at infant school then when I felt like this. My first experience was that I can remember was when I was 6. That was the communication with spirit. But also my dad, bless him, he said to me, he told me many stories of when I was younger, and he said to me, Kerry, you would drive me and your mum crackers. You would be in bed and you're like 2.5 years old and you're like yabba, like it's chatting away and there's nobody there. And he said, and I have to say, Kerry, it did sort of like freak us out a bit, but my dad's mother, which was my Nan Joan, she was a spiritualist, and she took me to my very first spiritual church when I was 6. Yeah, in Walthamstow. So it was an incredible experience. Didn't really understand it completely, but I remember the feeling of sitting in that church and being, wow, the feeling of energy. I could just feel energy. And it was quite amazing. And that's something, Kelly, that's really stayed with me, even to this day. Yeah. Hello, everybody. Hi.
Hello, everybody.
And thank you. Nice
You
to meet
said
you all.
it's a feeling that has stayed with you. So do you remember when you were, again, I'm going back with you, when you were 6 years old, do you remember the feeling of spirit? Do you remember watching the people demonstrate and going, wow, this is so cool? What really made you feel at that moment that has journeyed with you all the way until now?
So that feeling of when I was sitting in the audience watching the medium dem, if I'm honest, it wasn't the feeling of actually watching the medium. For me, I felt I was just surrounded within the spirit world. And it was that feeling. It's really hard, Kelly, to pull it into the words, finding the human words to use. But it was the only word I could really describe it as, that feeling of peace and love. And I actually remember watching the medium, and I actually was watching behind her. I can't remember her name. I wish I could remember her name. But I remember watching behind her and seeing spirit. And I was in awe with it, you see. But that's what I was more interested in, was actually seeing the spirit world behind this lady. And, it's quite busy. And yeah, it was incredible. And that's something that I've held in my mind to this day. It seems like yesterday. And that feeling of love, it's just phenomenal. Yeah.
It really is. It really can't be overstated. And so everyone tunes into spirit differently. So as a kid, what did you observe? Because you said, I saw a spirit behind her. And how is it different or similar to how you observe and connect to spirit now?
So for myself, it's very similar. But my main aspect that I work with is my clairsentience. When I work as a medium, whether it's platform or readings, private readings, I like to blend. I like to blend because, I blend my energy and invite the spirit energy and blend it into one. So, and I always say to the spirit world, let me see through your eyes, because I want to get to know them. I want to have that experience to be able to bring through the true essence of the spirit world. And now when I see with my clairvoyance, it's not out here, it's at my peripheral vision. So it's just here. So yeah, but I still sort of work with my other senses, like my clairaugustance and my claircognizance and things. But my main two, which I prefer to work with here, is really my clairsentience and my clairvoyance. Yeah.
So since you had this nurturing from your grand Nan, and your family was aware of spiritualism, you knew that it was real. So that's lovely in a sense. What is something that you didn't know that was real within this work that you experienced later through your faith or your tenacity, that you went, oh, okay, now I understand, now I see things differently?
For me back then, I didn't really understand the mechanics. And the mechanics of mediumship, mechanics of the spirit world, and also the mechanics of us as our own individuals, like our higher self and our soul. that is something that I've really journeyed with for a long time, and really dug in deep to try and gain more understanding, because Kelly, there's so much more to us than human beings, isn't there? It's phenomenal what's within each and every one of us.
It is. And so the higher self and the soul, I'd love to talk about that with you for a moment. In your perspective, is the connection to the higher self, is that a psychic connection, or is that a mediumship connection? How do you define that for people? And how do you feel when you connect to a soul that's present versus a soul that's on the other side? So that, I gave you a couple things in there, but go wherever you want to go, and we'll come back to
Yeah,
wherever.
no, that's fantastic. I love this. It's my favorite topic.
Yes.
I'll be sitting here talking to you for hours, Kelly, about this. So
That's
for
cool.
me, yeah. So for me, in my experience and how I view things, and just my opinion here, is I always get into my power, into my higher self, whether I'm working as a psychic or whether I'm working as a medium. So when I go into my power, into my higher self, I then surrender my logical part of my brain. So then I go into my mind that is attached to my spirit, like my higher self, same thing. And then I then reach out to the spirit world to blend with me, mind to mind. So it's like me blending my spirit, my higher self, with their spirit. And that's how I work as a medium. And then when we go into the soul, for me, I view the soul, there's so many different concepts and views about this, but I can only speak of my own experience. So for me, the soul is such an intricate part of us. It's like the, I don't know, say you've got your mobile phone as an example. Okay, the mobile phone, physical presence, like us as a body, physical body. And then inside, we've got all this technology, which is our higher self, our technology of energy. Then within that, you've got the microchip. That little tiny microchip is the thing that will ignite the energy within that mobile phone and the actual phone itself. So I view that's my only way I can describe it. I view the microchip as being our soul. So the soul is the everything and abundance of us, whether it's past, present, and future. It's the storage. It's that microchip storage of everything, every knowledge, every piece of wisdom, every part of us. But you may disagree with me here, Kelly, I don't know, but I actually also believe that it is connected to the higher self, but it's separate.
Oh, so okay. I heard you mention that a little bit earlier. So you believe that the soul is different than the higher self.
Yes.
And I know people who think the exact same thing, and I know people who think otherwise. And it's one of those topics where it's just how we view energy. I think that, how can I put, I don't know how to define it, because I understand exactly what you're saying, but at the same time I go, and let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. So like the higher self, I think it is connecting to a part of our soul. And so like the soul, sometimes I think about the energy that emanates connected to our aura. And so I think about the different layers of the aura. So I think about, like, how the aura is the expression of our current body and our emotions and our mind. But then I also think it is connected to the experiences of our past lives. And so that's where I see them bridge the gap. And sometimes I feel this eminence of higher self, and I go, oh, but a part of me kind of still feels connected to the overall, like, oneness as a soul and a higher self. So, but I get it. They're two different places.
Yeah, absolutely. And I completely agree with you. And it's like, for me, I feel that it's sort of individual, but it's together. It's really weird. It's really hard to explain. But it's almost like, they're attached by this thread, but within this thread it's like the journey of going into the soul, going into the higher self. It's almost like we can sort of maneuver around, yeah.
I agree. I agree. So how does it feel to maneuver around when you're in that place?
Oh my gosh, Kelly, when I'm in that space, seriously, if there was an elixir for that feeling, I would be drinking that elixir every day. Because that feeling, when I connect into my own soul and I journey there, because I do a lot of my own, I do a lot of soul work because it's important. I think it's a lovely experience for everyone to experience, though. Everyone can do this. This is the thing. But when I go into that space and I journey into my soul, I find the words I have to describe it is, it's everything and it's nothingness.
I love it. Yeah. Yeah. The philosophical conundrum of that. But it's true.
Yeah,
It's just you go, please. Yeah.
yeah,
I
no,
would, yes.
no, I'm getting all excited, Kelly, as we're sitting here chatting, because I'm like,
Carrie,
yeah,
tell me what the everything and the nothingness feels like, please. Yes.
it's oh gosh, it feels the ultimate abundance of peace and love, all entwined, all entwined. And you are part of that. You are part of that collective. And when when we get rid of that logical brain that keeps pulling us back and going, oh, you should be doing this, you're doing it wrong, and things like this, once we actually learn to let go of that logical aspect and just literally go with that flow, that ultimate surrender, to get into that space, it's just the most incredible feeling I've ever experienced in my life. Yeah,
It's pretty good. It
yeah.
heals us. It
Yeah.
restores us, not only physically, of course, but what our personality is. Even it can take us back to who we were as a child and
Mhm,
these like very true parts of ourselves, and it can eliminate time,
mhm.
where we go, I'm just going to be this now, or I can be this now, and it makes us feel so powerful. Like it, you know, the whole terminology of sitting in the power, it's very, very true of when you're in touch with your power, where you're in touch with the love force and the intelligence and the spark of all that is. It's a pretty fantastic feeling. It's very fantastical, and I guess sometimes it's scary. I know it scared me. I'm a little bit more at peace with it, but it scared me in the past, especially when I was first developing, to go, okay, like, and the nothingness of it all, like it, like all this doesn't matter, all of this doesn't matter. It's just like energy expressing itself, and we're all connected because we're evolving in some way, but the pieces of it really doesn't matter. Like the me being Kelly doesn't matter in the greatness of it all, but it all has a part to play. And so I do believe it absolutely matters, but you have to acknowledge the understanding of it doesn't at the same time.
Absolutely agree. Definitely. And that's the journey, Kelly, never that's the journey that I've had to discover. That aspect, never, like when I saw spirit and I experienced spirit when I was younger, that sort of came very much more natural. And then when you're going into, well, how does this work? Who am I? What am I about? And I remember questioning I used to drive my parents mad, Kelly, in questioning everything. Well, why is the grass called grass and why do you call it green? Who says that? I was dreadful. Everything I would question. No wonder I didn't get on very well at school. But now I understand. I understand why I was young and I was questioning all that, because it's that feeling of understanding and knowing that there's more than what we perceive to be.
There's so much more, and we're really not taught where to look and feel and to hear. And so no wonder why as children we're going, what's this, what's that? Because you're not telling me about that over there or this over there. So you're telling me to look at this. Why is this important? Okay, tell me about it. And we all are learning from other people's experiences and from other people's perspectives. I know when I look at other people's lives around me, or if I'm really empathetic, I go, great, I've learned the lesson of watching them, and I know that I don't have to repeat it because I learned through their energy. And so that's a fantastic topic in itself. But what I want to ask you before we go a different direction too as well is within so we talked about spirit and the energy and the knowing, and it's just such this wonderful place, and we're acknowledging both parts of it. And you're a teacher, and you lead others, and you demonstrate, and you said you devoted yourself to spiritualism. So that is an enormous responsibility to honor, to grow within your work and as a person, and to set a good example and heal. And when we work with spirit, and here's the question, when we work with spirit, we really have to kind of embrace that place where we let go of ourselves, and we let spirit take over. So Kerry, you're building yourself up so much so you can be a light for others, but you're learning so much to let yourself go. What is that experience like for you?
I'm really accepting of that, because I believe I've 25 years of experience. Okay, I'm still learning.
Yeah.
And I always will learn. I'll always continue to learn. There's never an ending to development, I don't believe. And it's like our soul is evolving, and so we have to just go along with that flow, with that evolving. But there are times, Kelly, and you spoke about it earlier actually, about taking time out. Last year I took a long time out for myself, because I was going through huge changes and massive, a trauma. There was trauma. I lost both my parents. So my soul had to really understand that concept. Sorry, can you hear my dogs in the background?
Yeah, they're probably acknowledging your parents.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, it's like, okay. So my soul,
okay. We love your babies.
I'm the dog lady. Okay, I have loads of dogs, and they're all rescue dogs. So yeah. But going back to the topic here, the soul for me is like you're constantly evolving. So you have to constantly learn. And, with the trauma that I'd been through last year, I'd never experienced that before. That's my first time of experience the loss of my parents. So for me, that was a new learning aspect for me. So I've really worked. Last year, took a lot of time out, and I've really worked on myself. I stopped my work as a medium, as a psychic, and I had to go within. I had to go within and sit within the stillness of my own soul to try to understand the changes in my own life and how to navigate my own way through that. And because there's always, through life's experiences, there's always knowledge and wisdom to learn from. Yeah,
absolutely. And that I can only imagine. You said you lost both of your parents
Yeah.
during such a short time period, within a year. And what did you find yourself learning from that place of uncertainty and such massive change?
Wow, that's a big question, Kelly.
Yes, yes, it
Um,
is.
okay, so on a personal level there, I come to actually find out a lot about myself as an individual, not just with my work, but as my own individuality. And I actually realized that it was okay to not be okay. And that's something I struggled with because I've always been a strong person and, I've mastered way through life. And it's like, come on, bring life on. Let me learn this, let me learn that, and things like this. So for me, the feeling is completely out of my comfort zone, Kelly, of feeling vulnerable and feeling, I'm not okay and I need to work through this, and to find and understand and to evolve from that. And I tell you what, I did do a lot of breath work as well. I cannot highly recommend breathwork enough. Breathwork is phenomenal, and using the breathwork, sitting within my power and my soul, and understanding. Trying to understand the reason of why both of them are so quick together, 16 weeks apart. It was quite heavy, and trying to understand why that was and trying to get answers for that. And that's what I done. I sat for ages and ages and I allowed the healing to take place. My spirit team were amazing. I had some amazing people around me as well that really helped me and encouraged me to heal. And yeah, I just went with the flow with that, surrendered to how I was feeling, and really I learned a lot from that experience. I learned that even though my parents passed and I was devastated, but that was my need. Their need was to go back home and for one to go and then the other to follow. And I've now understand that need in that concept. So yeah, last year was a big learning curve. But Kelly, as much as it was like traumatic and sad, coming out of that now, that has been one of a massive life experience and soul evolving experience for me. Yeah.
What did you learn about your soul with how you read now for others going through the loss of a loved one on that level with parents?
I can now fully, and I do believe as well from mediums, a lot of mediums, we have to experience a lot of things in life and psychics to be able to understand others and their situations. But for me, it's given me that depth of understanding now of that feeling of that heartache and also the trauma of part of it feels like part of your soul goes with them.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something I was
That's not talked about enough. That's
and
pretty powerful what you just said.
yeah, and it's like when somebody actually says, I am heartbroken. I never, ever, Kelly, really understood the depths of that until that experience. And for me, even though our soul is all together and things like this, okay, but for me, there's a part it's like a fragment of my soul has gone with my parents. Yeah. But I feel that's because of the depth of love, the depth of the life I've experienced through my parents, and they taught me so much. I wouldn't be the person who I am now today without that experience with my parents, and for that I'm truly, truly grateful for. You see,
Yes.
so yeah.
I do think when we have very close connections to our loved ones, like parents, friends, spouses, our energy is so intertwined with one another, so intertwined that I can only imagine, right, when that when a moment happens where we have to part in a certain way, because we're still all connected. I really, and you, I know, really truly believe that.
Yeah, absolutely. I have no doubt about, my mum and dad are still very much around me. I've had signs, and hope you don't mind, I'd like to share this one. Was my father lived in Spain, and a week after he passed, I was outside on ladders painting the barbecue area that my dad built, and I was painting it all. Now, my dad lived in the mountains, so, and it's quite solitude there. And as I was painting, I had my head up on the roof of the barbecue area, and I was painting this, and all of a sudden I was surrounded by my father's aftershave. Yeah, the smell of my dad's aftershave absolutely overwhelmed me. Now, bearing in mind, I'm on ladders, so I'm up in the air, I'm in the mountains as well. There's no way you could question that. And I had the paintbrush in my hand, Kelly, and I just stood on the ladders, closed my eyes, and I thought, embrace this moment.
Yes.
And that's what I did. And that was a week after my father passed.
Wow.
Yeah. And my mum and dad, I absolutely no doubt that they are happy, and they're still very much here around us. Yeah. Oh, hello, David.
Hello, David. Hello. It's nice, everyone popping in to say hi. Hello. So there's so many, Kerry, healing moments that we have to go throughout our lives. And so, yes, what am I trying to say? I almost said yesterday. It feels like yesterday sometimes, but last year, that was an overwhelmingly focused healing time for you. Where do you feel like your energy is heading in this year? And what has really led you to your energy moving in a certain capacity again?
So I have taken a lot of time to work through where I'm going, because last year was so emotionally up and down and working on myself. And then this year, a new year, I was like, right, Kerry, come to get yourself together and, work on yourself and get into your work again. And I really didn't know, Kelly, where I was going to be going within my workspace. I'm going to be honest, I didn't know. And I was like, that's okay. Maybe I'm not meant to know. Sometimes, Kelly, we're not meant to know everything, are we? So, so I just have that trust. But what's actually happened now is I've found, I've stepped into a new pathway of holding space for people by doing retreats. And I've been doing quite a few retreats. We've had a few over here in the UK recently. We've got a few more coming up. And I don't just do them on my own. I collaborate with other people as well. Because when we talk about spirituality, it opens up a huge umbrella of so many different facets of spiritual understanding, whether it be through healing, psychic development, soul work, mudra, mantra, visualization, anything like this. So my work has really taken a massive turn, and I do work with some wonderful group of people. They're called, is it okay if I speak about this, Kelly?
Yeah,
Thank
go for
you.
it. I'm going to pop down
Yeah,
your website too so people can
thank
find.
you.
Absolutely.
I work with the Conscious Heart Warriors. They are amazing breathwork facilitators, and they've worked with me and helped me. And by doing that, I've now fully experienced the feeling and understanding and recognize how it's helped me to evolve. So that's what I want to bring now to other people. This world, it's hard. This life is hard. It's not easy. And I see so many people that are needing that guidance, needing that support, needing to maybe strip back some of the layers and going into, their true self, and understanding that the layers aren't actually there from them. It's from conditioning from other people, and things like this, because all of this has an impact on our energy. So for me, holding space in a sacred space for a few days, whether it be a 1 day or a week or 3-day retreat, I really feel you can do some groundbreaking work to change, to not change, sorry, that's the wrong word, to realign and reconnect people's belief within themselves.
I do believe that. I do believe that truly. When I was first coming into my development, going to conferences or like things that were like mini retreats in a way, it made me feel like I could be myself. I was always trying to be myself, but I could have moments where I went, oh, I can relax. Everybody here has the same interest of things that I have interest in. I can talk about all these different parts of myself that are still trying to come alive, even though I'm not trying to hide them. I feel like no one else wants to hear about them, but it's the perfect place to cultivate that energy. And I know just, giving a shout out to Lisa Williams and her school and the training of becoming a psychic medium and a teacher, it gave us that space to completely, I felt very changed, but also in a way to integrate and align. Yes, like you said, very much
Absolutely.
aligned.
Yeah, and being part of Lisa's school there, Lisa taught me so much of teaching, how to, we have all this knowledge, we have all this understanding with this amazing gift. Let's share it with the world, but to do it in a professional way for personal responsibility. And that is really important. And, Lisa's school's done that for me. Yeah.
What are some of the experiences that you're offering for people to partake in on these retreats? I know you mentioned India, how that is so cool how you're going international like that. What do people experience no matter, I guess, where the location is? But talk about it, or specifically what you're doing in India. Please talk about that too specifically.
So there's many different types of retreats, but the main one that I'm actually focusing on, and where I'm passionate about all my work, Kelly, absolutely. But India is going to be an absolute transformative journey for anyone who attends. Even for us teachers, we're going to have a transformative journey, and to be part of a collaboration with everyone, no hierarchy, no ego, no, we could just all be ourselves and come together and unite together, because being united together is where change can happen. So within the 7-day retreat, we're going to be working through, I'm teaching soul work. It's my passion. So I'm teaching people how to navigate their way through their higher self into the soul, understanding the soul, and your soul's purpose. Why are we here? What is your reason? Because I don't know about you, Kelly. I've often questioned when I was younger, what am I here for? You know. So I intend to take people on that journey to answer that ultimate question for themselves, not for me to answer it for them, for them to answer it for themselves. And we're going to be bringing through as well. I'm part of a Buddhist lineage as well. So I've studied a lot of Buddhism. I've studied Hinduism and things like this. That was the only thing I was good in at school, Kelly, was RA, believe it or not. Yeah.
Wait, it's the RA?
RA, religious education, it's called over here. And
we don't have that acronym or that distinction in our educational system that I know of. Are you like in elementary school, in high school, or things similar to that?
Yeah, in high school. Yeah, that's the only thing I succeeded in, Kelly, was religious education. And I loved it. My parents was like, what? But yeah. But so I've studied a lot of different religions and different beliefs as well. So on the retreat as well, I am going to be bringing in mudra, mantra, and visualization to really sort of bring in that surrender. And then the conscious heart warriors are going to be doing some amazing breathwork ceremonies as well, going into the breathwork, journeying through that, and also going through working in a bit in the shamanic aspect as well. And then we have a yoga teacher as well, who's going to be doing yoga and sun salutations and things. And this is all on the beach. The place that we have, it's right on the beachfront, and it's amazing. So if anybody's listening and is interested into coming along, partaking, it is a chance in a lifetime. It's in November. Please go to my website. If you go onto my website, immediately there's a pop-up that comes on. Then if you click onto events, you've got all information there. Yeah.
What do you feel like so you mentioned breath work is a huge helper. What do you think are the greatest openers for your energy at this point? Openers, and I'm going to ask about grounders.
So I actually believe here the breath, absolutely, without a doubt. I've had some amazing experiences with doing breath work. And the thing is, our breathing is what brings us into this world. We take our first breath into this world. We take our last breath to depart. So breath work is huge. It has a huge impact. And also when we're in pain, if we focus on our breathing and focus and keep our logical brain focused on the breath, we can actually control the pain as well. So there's so much to be said, and the power of that breath. So when you're doing breath work, you journey through it. It takes you through different realms of where you are, because you're really surrendering to that breath, and you're really letting go of that logical aspect of us, and it's through the breath that does that. And for me, Kelly, grounding is being outdoors, my feet on the floor, barefoot. And yeah, I do. I love to be. I'm always in bare feet, Kelly. I even demonstrate in bare feet.
I read that. I didn't know that, but I read that. Do you do that all the time, or only when you can?
All the time. I was at a big spiritual festival a few weeks ago, and we had all these beautiful bell tents. It's all lit up overnight, it's stunning. And they have this big, massive gazebo. It's called the Buffalo Tent. And I was underneath the Buffalo Tent with an audience of people, and I'm like, right, shoes are coming off, boots are coming off. And I was in bare feet on the ground, on the grass, demonstrating. But it's so empowering for me. it's really empowering because I also feel energy, because we are energy and we're energy workers. We feel it. So for me, I can feel it through my feet. It's really strange. I've been told off several times, by the way, for that, doing bare feet.
I don't think it's strange at all. I mean, grounding is a huge thing, just from the scientific, going a little bit logical right now, from just the scientific aspect of it. It literally regulates our hormones, and it strengthens our immune system. And I know when I touch my feet to the ground, or if I feel sunlight on my face, because that's where I really feel nature's energy, there's an electricity that kind of goes through me a different way. How does it feel for you?
That's exactly, it's like a static energy, and it's it's just being with Mother Earth, you know, and her power of that, and connecting into that, again, energy, we're energy, and connecting with to the Earth's energy, the core, is fantastic. Oh, Stacey, that's fantastic. You too. Oh, that's brilliant. So yeah, it seems a lot of people, when I've been looking here, you know, and someone's actually put about being careful in India.
Someone is giving you some good
Yeah,
intentions and
I can
blessings.
fully understand why Stephanie said that. Stephanie, I've traveled to India 7 times. I've done a lot of study out in India as well.
Wait, did you say 17 times?
Yeah.
You've been to India 17 times?
7 times.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear that right. Okay, but still, 7 is a lot.
Yeah.
7 times.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So for me, I never forget when I very first went. I was like, I said to my husband, where have you brought me? We're on this rickety old coach and we're bouncing along. The coach has got no suspension. And he said to me, you're going to be fine. You're going to love it, honestly. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, you know. And then we goes to our hotel. I literally dumped the suitcase at the reception, and I walked down to the beach, took off my shoes, put my feet in the sand, closed my eyes, and the water was just going over my feet. And as I stood there, this is honest to God truth, right? I cried. And I was like, I feel home.
Yes.
It was an amazing, amazing experience. And my husband looked at me and went, I told you.
Ooh.
Yeah. So Stephanie, thank you for that. I completely understand why, definitely. But I'm quite knowledgeable of India, and there is a few of us going, so I'm not traveling alone. Yeah.
It's a guided group.
Yes.
A guided, divinely guided group with so much love of India. That's amazing. One of these days, I would love to go to India. So you're very much inspiring me again.
Come and meet us, Kelly. Come over there. Come and share the platform with us.
I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah, definitely.
So the show goes by just like that. It really is just like a lightning bolt, right? I know. And towards the end, I always want to really ask you, you've talked about India, you talked about your events, but what also do you have going on that people can be a part of? Whether you have classes going on online, or anything locally that you'd like to offer to people to know about.
Thank you. So
Kerry.
I do have regular development circles that are via Zoom. They've been going for a long time. And I also do teach a lot online of different courses. If you look at my website, you'll see many different courses on there. I'm very also into the ancient arts of divination. It's another one of my passions that I love, is bringing back the old traditional ways as well, because, you know, we're very much in modern day mediumship and things. It's really nice, I feel, to honour the past, bring the divination, and don't let it dispel away. So yeah, I do what they call a course of the ancient art of divination, and the seer as well. And I do mentorships as well, which is either in a group based or on a private one-to-one with just me and myself, like my students. So yeah.
So please, if you are wanting to step into your mediumship or develop through circles or courses, check Kerry Standfast's website out. She has a lot of wonderful resources, and she's a powerhouse. Absolutely.
Thank you, Kelly.
Absolutely. Before we depart, what is something that comes to mind, heart, or spirit that you would like to share with other people, whether it's a favorite saying or just off the cuff?
I'm very much a person, Kelly, of off the cuff. Okay. Because I do believe in speaking from your soul and your heart space. And what I would like to share for anyone that's listening here, no matter what happens in this life, as much as it can be challenging and it can be really painful and it can be you will experience times of where you feel just there's no end to this, there's no way out. Take it from someone who's been there, worn the t-shirt, okay? Because I'm living proof of that. And it took support, and it also I'm here to, and I've evolved from that experience, and at a time when I really didn't think I would, but it's having your faith is what will keep you going, and hope. Never ever give up hope. Hope is not just a simple 4-letter word. Hope is a miracle. And hope is so powerful, and it's through hope and faith that there's the light at the end of the tunnel. And what else I would like to say here is that anyone that has lost one of their family members, my saying is, it's never goodbye, it's see you later. And that's something that resonates within my entire being, because this here for me is our learning playground. Our home is spirit, but only when the time's right. Yeah.
Yes, it all comes together, and thank you for highlighting the power of hope and faith.
Yeah.
I really think that a lot of people just need that reminder, truly, truly. So again, thank you so much, Kerry, for being on the show with me today. You're always welcome. It's a see you later, not a goodbye from me to you. Yes. Thumbs up. Everybody is saying a little quick goodbye to us. Thank you, Jennifer, Stephanie, Stacia, and everyone else who has been with us here today. Vicky, David, Melinda, Tracy, so on. Thank you. I will see you next week for the Psychic Hour, everybody. And please join us if you feel inclined. We are doing a Father's Day service, donation base for psychic mediumship connections to loved ones in honor of fathers tomorrow, actually. And then also please come with us for the spiritual service For the Love of Spirit, hosted by Jennifer Rose, that she's hosting on Sunday. So a lot of opportunities to connect. Again, I want to give so much love to Kerry and everybody. Please go with love, luck, and light, and don't forget to live. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kerry. Bye.